So we did this Bhutesha yesterday. Uh, I just wanted to read this also. This was for Bhuteshwara. The past tense is actually of two kinds, Adyatana and Anadyatana. It will be described in Vritti of the Karaka Prakarana that Purva Para Nishayor Dvabhyam Yamabhyam Saha Divasam Adyatanaha Tad Bhanno Anadyatanaha. Adyatana today means the four yamas of the day along with two yamas of the previous night and two yamas of the following night. One yama is, I think, 3 hours, equivalent to 3 hours. Anadyatana not today is anything other than that. The two yamas of the previous night are 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. The four yamas of the day are 6 a.m. till 6 p.m. And the two yamas of the following night are 6 p.m. Till 12 a.m. So this is basically the current clock which we use. Thus, the Vedic Aditana is the same as the modern one in that it refers to the 24-hour period spanning from one midnight to the next. The word Bhuteshwara, which means Lord of the Bhutas, refers to Lord Shiva. So that was Aditana and Anaditana. We did Bhutesha. Now, Paroksha Bhute Naladayo Dhoksha Janamanaha. The 18 pratyas beginning with Nal are applied after a dhatu in the past tense, which was not witnessed by the speaker. So mostly we get to see the usage of adhokshaja a lot, like Sanjay Vacha, Dhritarashtra, all those Vachas, they are all adhokshajas. So in the past tense, which was not witnessed by the speaker, and they are called adhokshajas. So the pratyas are nalatus us, thal athus a, nal vama, e, ate ire se ate dve, e vahe mahe. Some call them lit. The word paroksha is a purv nipat samasa, purva nipat samasa, which means akshanaha param, beyond the eyes. Because of the impossibility of using the first person in the past tense, which was not witnessed by the speaker, it is considered that the dhokshita pratyas are also used in the sense of apahnava, denial of the truth. Different meanings of adhokshita. So the word adhokshita refers to Krishna, who is so named because he is manifest jayate beyond the reach of the senses. Adha akshaja. Furthermore, Adhokshita is a name given by Nanda and others after the breaking of the cart because it seemed as if Krishna had been born again, Jataha, under Adha, the axle of the cart. Anyhow, so this was Adhokshita and the Pratyas, and it's called Lit. Ashishi Yat Yastamityadayah Kamapala Namanaha. The 18 pratyas beginning with Yat and Yastam are applied after dhatu when Ashish is understood. Ashish is wish or blessing, and they are called Kampala. Yat Yastam Yasus, Yas Yastam Yasta, Yasam Yasva Yasma, शिष्टस्यास्तां शिष्टस्यास्तां सीरन् शिष्टास्यास्तां सीध्वं सिय सिवहि सीमहि. So this is Kamapala, and it's known as Ashir Ling. Kampala refers to Baladev. Kamapalo Halayudha.
Mm.
He is called Kampala because since he is the elder brother, he protects the god of love, Krishna. Kamampala. Arharthe Nadyatana Bhavishyati Chatadayo Bal Kalki Namanaha. The 18 pratyas beginning with Ta are applied after dhatu in the sense of arha. Arha means deserving or qualifying for, or in the future tense, which is not of the same day. Anadyatana bhavishyati, and they are called bal kalki. So, ta, tarau, taras, tasi, tastha, tastha, tasmi, tasvas, tasmas, ta, tarau, taras, tase, tasate, tadve, tahe, tasvahe, tasmahe, and they are called lut. Kalki is famous future incarnation of God. In his form as a child, he is called Bal Kalki. So that's why um, these pratyas are also Bal Kalki. Bhavishyat Kale Satyadaya Kalkinamanah. The 18 pratyas beginning with Sati are applied after dhatu in the future tense and they are called Kalki. So the previous one was Bal Kalki. It was applied in two, either in the two ways. One is in the sense of arha, that we'll see, uh, and in the future tense, which is not of the same day, anadyatana. And kalki is just future tense, so it means adyatana also includes that. Sati Seta Senti Sesi Setha Setha Syami Syava Syama Sete Sete Sente Sese Sethe Sedve Se Syavahe Syamahe. So the forms like Bhavishyati and so on are formed by this pratyaya. And it's known as Rit. Rit. So since there is no particular restriction here, the Kalki pratyas are used both in Adyatana Bhavishyat and Anadyatana Bhavishyat. This is the last one. Okay, we'll do this also. साकांक्षम यत्र क्रियातिक्रमो निर्दिश्यते तत्र कार्यकारणयोः स्यदादिका अजितनामानो भूते भविष्यति च. When non-accomplishment of the action is indicated in such a way that a complement is required and the relationship of cause and effect is understood. The 18 pratyas beginning with Syat are applied after the dhatu in the past tense or the future tense, and they are called Ajit. So Syat Syatam Syam Syan, Syas Syatam Syata Syam Syava Syama, Syata Setam Syanta Syatha Setham Syadvam Se Syavahi Syamahi. Others call these Kriyatipatti, some call them ring, some call the Achyutadis thing, all the Achyutas thing. Everyone calls them Akhyatas. In all these pratyas, the pa is an indicatory letter, as are the ma and la, and the e in dip and sip. So it says when non-accomplishment of the action, sa akangsham, is indicated in such a way that a complement is required. Uh, it had an example actually. And the relationship. Uh, uh, just like we have the combination of yada, tada, yat and tat, which we had read before. Similarly, so in yat and tad, it seems like cause and effect relationship sort of there, like if. So here we have uh, a connection of if, and what is connected with if, then, right?
Then, yeah, yadi tardi.
Yeah, if and then. So in these pratyas we have a connection between if and then. So, and that's how we get to understand cause and effect relationship. So examples will come ahead for this one even. So so that's why when non-accomplishment of the action is indicated, like if something something, so it's incomplete. Non, so we have to complete it. So some example will come ahead for this. I'm just not recollecting the exact example, but it has got that if and then relationship here with these pratyas. So so we are done with the pratyas here till here, and yes. So have you memorized the first four sets of pratyas which we read yesterday?
It's
Well, I'm
coming.
working on them, but I haven't. Yeah, I'm working on them. Not 100%,
Okay.
but now I'll start on all of them together. So
Okay.
Next few
maybe
days,
by
I
the
should
end of the
go
week.
through. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So because I want to make sure that everyone knows the pratyas before we begin
Mm.
the declensions.
How well should I be knowing the meaning of the different tenses? Like, because lots of these verbs I haven't really seen that I can think of. Like uvacha, I can understand that one.
Okay, you actually, because there are so many, so when we actually start declining, so you will automatically get
Okay.
just when we decline the very first verb, which is bhu.
Yeah.
So then we'll make forms like bhavati, bhavataha, bhuyate, ityadi.
Okay.
So the very first verb will solve everyone's
Okay.
problem in that regard.
Okay.
And yes,
Four of these are also quite rare, right, Gugu?
many of them actually, many of them.
Ashwini is really rare.
Because the thing is, like I also said before, that in a sentence we have only a single verb, let's say
Yeah.
a proper finite verb, only a single one, and then rest of the other words are like nouns or adjectives or something else, aware maybe. So we are more used to see the nouns in general than the verbs.
Yeah.
And even the verbs we see, mostly they are like the common ones with the common pratyas.
Yeah.
So yes, it becomes a little difficult to see the varieties which we'll be studying actually. So yes, and that's why it becomes a little hard even at some point of time to to be able to recognize if some difficult verb comes with a difficult pratyaya.
Mm.
It becomes a little difficult then actually.
Mm.
Like bhavita, yeah, bhavita
Yeah.
vana bhuya. You know the shloka in Gita, bhavita vana bhuya. Is in
Mhm.
Gita or
Yeah, it's in Giza.
so
These
that
are-
bhavita actually,
It's future tense, right?
yeah, it's
Wait,
Kampala or Balkalki. No, it's Kampala, I think.
is it? I thought it was,
No, it's Balkalki actually.
yeah, Balakoki.
Balkalki. So bhavita is a Balkalki. So such forms are rare, but they are there. So 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 please memorize. We can read ahead, but I want to make sure that you all, or we can just read few of them. Pit prithuhu, a pratyaya that comes after a dhatu and has the indicatory letter pa is called prithu. Yes. So a pratyaya which comes after a dhatu and has got an indicatory letter pa is called prithu. Um, in this sutra and in the sutras up till Sutra 382, the word dhatoho, which is carried forward from Sutra 366, takes the meaning of Panchami. Panchami. Panchami stands for Purva Nimitta, right? Panchami.
Yeah, Purva Nimita
Hmm.
after a
So
Dhatoho.
does the Achyuta Pratyas tip, sip, mep are prithus because they are applied after a dhatu, but the Swadi soup is not a prithu because it is not applied after a dhatu. So, so such pratyas are known as prithus uh, because they have pa as an it indicative letter. Nit Nrsingaha. Nrsingaha. A pratyaya that comes after a dhatu and has the indicatory letter na is called Nrsinga. The word Nrsinga, which means Kinchidangam Naraha Kinchidangam Singhaha, part man, part lion, refers to the lion, Leela avatar named Nrsinga who killed the demon Hiranyakashipu and protected Prahlad. So this is, you can say, the Samasvakya for this.
Hmm.
Kinchidangam Naraha Kinchidangam Singhaha. Okay, I had one question. The shloka in Bhagavad Gita, Aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishma virakshitam, that one.
Hmm.
So in that shloka, the word balam. So balam is a neuter word, first of all. Bala. So their balam, is it prathama or dvitiya? Because
It's
what I could understand
Prathama,
is
isn't it? Because he's saying this army.
no. If we see the translation, that then it seems like a karma there. Balam bhishma virakshitam.
No, even it's the subject, right? Because it is the thing that is protected, Ishma Vyakshitam, and it is the thing that is also Aparyaptam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I was just confused. Is it subject?
I think it's the subject.
Like asmakam balam.
Yeah, our army, our strength, Aparyaptam, is the thing that's apart. But like you said, it's neuter.
So it's subject.
I think so.
Uh,
I don't see any other subject possible.
Hmm. Yes. Okay. Just a sec. So Nrsimha, then Kit Kapilah. So Pit Prithu Nit Nrsimha Kit Kapila. A pratyaya that comes after a dhatu and has the indicatory letter Ka is called Kapila. So Kapila. Kapila is a varna. The red color is known as Kapila. Proktah Kapila Varnatvat Kapilakyo Virinchina. Because of his reddish complexion, Lord Brahma named him Kapila. Even, do we have any connection between Kapila and the word Kapi? The monkeys, they are known as Kapi
I don't know.
because they are red-faced
Yeah,
something.
maybe so.
Kapi.
I always thought he is a golden color, no, Kapila. At least in the Bhagavatam book, it is
But
golden.
here, I don't know. What's Kapi? Kapi. Oh, that's from Kampa Dhatu.
Because they shake.
Yeah,
They're
they keep on
shaking the
moving.
trees, huh?
Yeah, we can say. Or
This
they
is
themselves.
this is Munadi. Come.
Kapila, see, monkey colored. First meaning is monkey colored.
Brown,
Even see,
right? Brown, tani.
I was correct actually in one sense. Most
Yeah.
probably connected with Kapi.
Yeah, colored like a monkey, Kapila.
Kapi. And It says browny, reddish. Yeah, so like that. Anyhow, so Kit Kapilah. Then Nit Nirgunaha, a pratyaya that comes after a dhatu and has the indicatory letter nga. Okay, this is nga. Previous one we had na. So it's known as Nirguna. Kitcha, Netcha, Kansarihi. A pratyaya that comes after a dhatu and has the indicatory letter ka or nga is called Kansari. The word Kansari refers to Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, even though the grammatical operations could be accomplished merely by using the names Kapila and Nirguna, because Kapila was Kit Kapila, Nirguna was this one Nirguna. Still, where it is necessary to employ both names simultaneously as nimittas, it is cumbersome to separately mention both names. Thus, one should know that the name Kansari is made here for the sake of brevity.
So in this place, then the pronunciation is more Kangsarihi, right? Ka and nga.
This one?
Yeah, Kang. Or how do you pronounce that? Vishnu Chakra.
Generally, we just pronounce it Kansarihi. But if we go into the pronunciation, then it would be nasal, the sound. So first
Kangsari.
of all, it wouldn't be Kamsari
Right.
because it's not ma, and it won't even be Kansari na, the the na. So it's from the nose. So kung sari, from the nose. Kung kung sari, kung sari. Shit Shiva, a pratyaya that comes after a dhatu and has the indicatory letter sh is called Shiva. Yeah, that's all for today. Till 382. So this is tomorrow and the day after. So please try to memorize all the pratyas, and maybe tomorrow, the day after, we'll begin. So, Canto 1, Chapter 3, Text 28. Ete changsh kalaha pungsah Krishnastu bhagavan swayam Indrari vyakulam lokam mridayanti yuge yuge. Ete पूर्वोक्ताः ब्रह्मादयः पुंसः परमेश्वरस्य अंशकलाः केचित् अंशः केचित् कलाः विभूतयः यथोपयोगं ज्ञानक्रियाशक्त्यावेशात् अवतीर्णाः सन्तः। इंद्रारि व्याकुलं सुरद्विषि दैत्यैरुपद्रुतं सुरद्विषि दैत्यैः उपद्रुतं lokam bhuvanam yuge yuge. So when it is two times anything in Sanskrit, it means like prati. You just add prati. So yuge yuge, prati yugam. Dinam dinam is prati dinam. So like that. Mridayanti sukhinam kurvanti. Tu kintu Krishna स्वयं भगवान न तु कृष्णः अपि भगवतः अंशावतारः आविष्कृत सर्वशक्तित्वात्. आविष्कृत सर्वशक्तित्वात्. So ete, all these mentioned before, Brahma and so on, some of them are ansha. In English, ansha would be
Part
parts, and kala would be uh, expansions.
expansions and plenary expansions, portions and portions of portions.
Literally, till today, I didn't get the English terminologies for kala and ansha. Means, of course, Prabhupada did that, but personally, I could not grasp. Uh, Kala means portion of a whole.
Yeah, they both mean parts. And then kala is usually used for phases of the moon.
Yes. So, what does plenary mean?
Full, complete. Plenary means.
Okay. So, how do we define now ansha and kala in that case? Ansha is also part, kala is also part.
Sometimes kala is used to mean what's being called amsha here, like a shodasha kala. But here kala means the vibhutis. So it's a slightly different terminology than we usually hear it. Because normally in many places kala is used where the way he's using amsha here.
So
Yeah.
here Kalpadruma dictionary says kala means amsha matram.
A part of
Same
an
thing.
amsha.
Yeah.
Same thing. So Brahmadaya, which were mentioned before, some of them are anshas, kechit anshan, kechit kala, vibhutaya. Some of them are kala, which in this case is vibhuti, and vibhuti, and they descend avatirna, they descend the vibhutis yatha upayogam jnana kriya shaktya veshat, and they are manifested with the jnana shakti or the kriya shakti yatha upayogam as necessary. Parameshwarasya of Parameshwara. So they are manifested, they are invested with the Jnana Shakti or the Kriya Shakti of Parameshwara, necessary for the purpose of the incarnation.
So that's specifically talking about the vibhutis, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So Vibhutaya Avatirna Santa.
Yeah.
Indrari Vyakulam Sura Dvishi Daityai Upadrutam Loka Bhuvanam. So the Loka Bhuvana, the planet, which is being troubled, being harassed by the demons who are averse to the suras, the demigods. Yuge Yuge. So these anshas, these colors, um, they are yuge yuge, pratiyugam, mridayanti sukhinam kurvanti. So they descend every yuga in order to make the lokam, the bhuvanam happy, sukhinam kurvanti. Tu kintu, but Krishna Swayam Bhagavan, Krishna is the Swayam Bhagavan, uh, Swayam Bhagavan. Na tu Krishna api Bhagavata Anshavatara. It is not that Krishna is also the Ansh avatar of the Bhagavan, which means Bhagavan is Swayam Bhagavan is someone else. No. Krishna is not an Ansha avatar of the Bhagavan. Avishkrita Sarva Shaktitvat. Because, and this statement na tu Krishna api bhagavatam avatara is said because on this basis, which means
Yeah.
avishkrita sarvashaktitvat means avishkrita is basically found, because Krishna is found to be the reservoir of all the energies.
Mm.
Literally, it would mean that avishkrita
Yeah.
sarvashaktitvat, and that's why he is Krishna Swayam Bhagwan. And basically, sarvashaktitvat, by saying this, it also indicates that he's the fountainhead of all the energies, which means he's also the fountainhead of all the incarnations, because all the incarnations are also in one sense energy of Krishna. In one sense, actually, we can say, okay, they are also Shaktiman, like Lord Rama, they are also Shaktiman. And there is a difference between Shakti and Shaktiman. But in another level of understanding, we can understand only Krishna as Shaktiman and the rest everything as Shakti. So, anyhow, the main point is he's the Sarva Shaktiman, and that's why he's Swayam Bhagwan. Okay.
Prabhu, you said we will look at other aspects.
I was expecting. Okay, which is that part?
Chaitanya
Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela.
I don't know, third or fourth chapter, which one it is.
Avimrishta.
He's also quoting this verse, right? Ite cham shakala pumsa.
Yes, yes, yes. It doesn't show.
Yeah, it is
Is it in the fifth chapter?
it's fourth chapter.
Fourth
Fourth
chapter.
one. So why it is not showing?
Mm.
Something else.
Adi 267. Adi 267 and Adi 572. Sorry, Adi 579
So Adi 579.
or Adi 267. Also, it's there.
Yeah, I think second chapter only.
Yeah, it's 267. That section.
67.
Yeah, this is 80, 67. Yeah, he is right. 67 onwards it starts.
So এই শ্লোকের অর্থ তুমি হইলা নির্বচন আর এক শোনা ভাগবতের বচন. The import of this verse has stopped you from arguing.
Which verse?
Vadanti tat tattvavidas.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now listen to another verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. So ete cham shatyadi. सब अवतारेर करी सामान्य लक्षण तार मध्ये कृष्ण चंद्रेर करिल गणन. The Bhagavatam describes the symptoms and deeds of the incarnations in general, which we just read in the third chapter of the first canto,
Yes.
and counts Shri Krishna among them. तबे सूत गोसाई मने पाइया बड़ भय जार जे लक्षण ताहा करिलो निश्चय. This made Suta Goswami greatly apprehensive. Bhai. Therefore, he distinguished each incarnation by its specific symptoms. That we had discussed that with each incarnation, list of incarnation, Suta Goswami also mentioned one of its symptoms or one of its contribution of the activity done. अवतार सब पुरुषेर कला अंश Hmm.
Here,
Swayam
Kapila
Bhagwan.
is saying parts of plenary portions, Anksha's plenary portions.
Hmm. Swayam Bhagwan Krishna Sarva Avatangsa. All the incarnations of Godhead are plenary portions or parts of plenary portions of the Purusha avatars. Plenary portions is Ansha and parts Kala. But the primeval Lord is Sri Krishna. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the fountainhead of all incarnations. पूर्व पक्ष कहे तोमार भारत व्याख्यान परव्योम नारायण स्वयं भगवान. An opponent may say, this is your interpretation. But actually, the Supreme Lord is Narayana, who is in the transcendental realm. Purva Paksha, okay, Purva Paksha is the opposing argument. I think Baldev Vidyabhushan also explains this is in what is that
Brahma
Vedanta Sutra?
Brahma Sutra.
Brahma Sutra, Purva Paksha. He explains 5 things. I think there 5 or 6 things. One of them is Purva Paksha. So Teho Asi Krishna Rupe Korean Avatar. Teho means he, Narayana. Asi comes. Ei Artha Shloke Dekhi Ki Ar Vichar. He, Narayana, incarnates as Lord Krishna. This is the meaning of the verse, as I see it. Which verse is it is talking of? Krishna's the Bhagavan's
This
one,
is
right?
It's
Swayam.
yeah.
Mhm. There is no need for further consideration. Dekhi, ki aar vichar. What is uh, the
Yeah.
need for other consideration?
I
Ki aar
think of it
vichar.
another way.
तारे तारे कोहे केने करो कुतर्कानुमान शास्त्र विरुद्धार्थ कभू ना होय praman. To such a misguided interpreter, we may reply, why should you suggest such fallacious logic? An interpretation is never accepted as evidence if it is if it opposes the principles of scripture. Anuvadam anuktva tu. Now here comes the point. Na vidheyam udirayet. Okay. Having unsaid the anuvada. What is anuvada here? The subject. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Just a minute. So we have Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Anuvadam anuktva tu na vidheyam udirayet. Without saying the subject, we should not say out the predicate. Na hi alabdhaspadam kinchit kutrachit pratitisthati. One should not state a predicate before its subject, for it cannot thus stand without proper support. An unknown object should not be put before the known subject. Should be, because the object has no meaning if the subject is not first given. Okay. अनुवाद ना कहिया ना कही विधेय आगे अनुवाद कही पश्चात विधेय. If I do not state a subject, I do not state a predicate. First, I speak the former, the subject, and then I speak the later, the predicate. So, predicate basically indicates or means uh, the object only.
Predicate
The
means that the thing to be known, like the new information,
About.
whatever you're speaking about. So the subject is the thing, and then the predicate is the new information that you're introducing about the thing that's already known.
So, basically, it's Visheshana and Vishesha.
Something like that. Not exactly an adjective, but it's new information about the thing.
विधेय कहिए तारे जे वस्तु अज्ञात अनुवाद कही तारे जय होई ज्ञात. The predicate of a sentence is what is unknown to the reader, whereas the subject is what is known to him. जैसे कही ए विप्र परम पंडित विप्र अनुवाद इहार विधेय पांडित्य. For example, we may say, this Vipra is a greatly learned man. In this sentence, the Vipra is the subject and the predicate is his panditya, his erudition. विप्रत्व विख्यात तार पांडित्य अज्ञात अतएव विप्र आगे पांडित्य पश्चात. The man's being a Vipra is known, but his panditya, erudition is unknown. Therefore, the person is identified first and his panditya
This
later.
here, it is basically a pandita, that the pandita has been described. That's why the a is used, isn't it?
Where?
In the previous verse, a vipra parama pandita.
I mean, they are not considering A in this case. They are considering Vipra and Parama Pandit.
How come, Prabhu? Because vipra is also new thing, right?
No,
Why?
it's the subject. Well, in the relation to the sentence, it's the subject of the sentence, and then Parama Pandita is the new thing that we're being told about the subject in the context of the sentence. So if you just say
Let
this
me-
Vipra, you're not saying anything new, and the sentence isn't complete. But when you say this Vipra is Parama Pandita, then you're giving something new about the subject. So it may
How
be a
about
new
this?
subject, but we're talking about new information about the subject.
So let's see. I'm calling a person. He's a pandita, and he's a vipra. Now vipra could be new information, isn't it?
Well, then
He's a pandita, but
if you said this person is a Vipra, then person is the subject and Vipra is the predicate, because you didn't know he was a Vipra before. You're only talking about him being a person. But because he's saying a Vipra, this Vipra, then the subject is the Vipra, not the person who is the Vipra.
so my question is, A is here is important because it has been already introduced. Is that right?
Well, no, because it's just a pronoun.
This vipra, that means you're pointing out to a person, right? So
Yeah, but you're not saying
this vipra,
person.
when you're saying it is as
So if you had a sentence before
assuming
that
you are
said
not giving
a Purusha Vipra, then you would have the person as a subject and Vipra as the predicate. But we started with Vipra, so Vipra is the subject.
right. But here the point is known and unknown is given. How come vipra becomes known? Vipra is also new to me.
Because it's the subject. What do you mean? You could go backwards forever. You could say a Bhuta Purusha, and then Purusha also can't be the subject.
The vipratvam is known in the next word. There is
Say again.
internet lag. Sorry,
Say again.
there is an internet lag. So what I mean is, in the next verse, if you look at can you just a little bit scroll?
Yeah.
Vipratva vikyata is known. Panditya agyata is unknown.
Yeah, because
How come vipratva is vikyata?
because it's the subject of the sentence. Because that's where you're starting.
That is a label we assign it, right?
Yes, but it's taken as known knowledge because it's the subject of the sentence. The idea is that there's either you already know it or there was a sentence previously describing it. And again, it's in the confines of the sentence. So we're strictly talking about.
That's what my point is. Is the context important? In the context, the vipratvam is already introduced. That is my question. Before stating this statement, hey vipra.
When I said context, we're talking about the subject and the predicate of any particular sentence. So you have to look at them in relation to each other. The panditva or panditya is the new thing being introduced to the subject of the sentence. So the Vipra asti, if we take it to Sanskrit, that's the subject of the sentence. And then you're saying he is Parama Pandita. So then that's a new thing that you're attributing to the subject. And if you turned it around, then it would be this Parama Pandita is a Vipra. This very learned person is a Brahmana. So therefore the order is required. So you have to take the Vipra as the person who's being called Parama Pandita and not the Parama Pandita who's being called a Vipra. Because you don't say a
So what I'm
subject.
saying is, right, I understood that point. Your point is that because of it is Anuvada and Vidheya, you are saying that Anuvada is should be accepted as known, Vidheya is should be accepted as unknown. That is, you are going by the rule. I'm saying without considering the rule aspect, we just read the sentence. Both of the information are new to me.
It's new to you, but again, you have to look at it in relation to the sentence itself. You don't have the context, so maybe it was revealed to you somewhere else. But in the construction of the sentence, Vipra is the thing that's being talked about. So we take it as the subject. If we say Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, you can say I've never heard of Krishna before. But regardless of whether you've heard of Krishna
No,
before,
there is a context because he has listed out. He has listed out previously in the 30 avatars. He has talked about Krishna. So there, the Krishna is already introduced.
okay, but if you take your logic, then what we're saying is that even there,
Yes.
he couldn't have been the subject. So you can never label anything as the subject because it's always new at some point. So how can you ever have
No, Prabhu. Let's say I talk about this is Ujjwala Prabhu, and Ujjwala Prabhu is, let's say, is very intelligent. So Ujjwala Prabhu is already I have introduced. Then comes the statement, right? If I say to random person Ujjwala Prabhu is intelligent, you will ask who is Ujjwala Prabhu, right?
Yes, but that's what I already said. So you have
But
to.
suppose Vijay Prabhu, you are showing indicating towards Ujjwal Prabhu, at the very first point even, and you are saying to a third person, okay, he's Ujjwal Prabhu and he's very intelligent.
Correct.
So even for the first time that person is saying him, for him now Ujjwal Prabhu becomes known. That is what is mentioned here. Therefore, the person is identified first,
Yes.
and then his intelligence. Then
Yeah,
his
that's what I'm saying. The first sentence you have told, he is Ujjwala Prabhu, you are saying, right?
yeah.
So that means I'm introducing the subject first. Then I'm
Yes.
saying Ujjwala Prabhu is intelligent.
But if I point to you, if no one has ever met you, and I point and say Vijay Prabhu is very intelligent, you're the subject, and you're identified by one sentence, and your erudition is the predicate. I don't need two sentences for that. And like I said,
So your introduction is
one
by
second,
pointing the finger.
second. Like I said
Sorry, go.
first, we're implying that you've already been introduced to the Vipra because we're just looking at one sentence. So perhaps there was a sentence before that said, this is a Vipra, and then this Vipra is intelligent. We're just looking at the one sentence, though. We have no idea, what came before or what after. But for the sake of understanding the example, we're looking at the one sentence.
Yeah, correct. So in that case, we can assume that the Vipra has been introduced already.
Yeah.
But we don't have to, because again, if I say Vijay Prabhu is very intelligent, and you're in the room and I'm pointing at you when I say something about somebody, then still one sentence does the whole job.
Correct, but you are using your gesture to introduce that Vijay.
Some cheshta is there.
Because otherwise, who is Vijay will come the question.
Well, the word this is there. That's also does the same thing. This Vipra, a Vipra. So this Vipra. So that's just like pointing. It's just like a gesture because it's indicating a particular Vipra.
Right.
A Vipra Parama Pandita.
Right. So the A is important. That was my initial question as well.
Grammar.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I was thinking of what's his name? Son of Drona? No, not son of Drona.
Ashwatthama.
So Karna. I was thinking of Karna. Like in this example, we have this Vipra is a greatly learned man. So we We state Vipra as the subject and pretty learned man as the predicate. Now, depending on the person, uh, if someone knows someone by his qualities and not by his jati or by name, then for him that quality becomes the subject and the name becomes the predicate. For example, like the very first time, like when Karna he shot an arrow, when the Kauravas and the Pandavas they were having the battle inside home, that friendly battle. So Karna came in between and he shot arrows, and so he was, everyone knew by that time, so that he's a great archer. But now that becomes the subject. Okay, he is an archer.
Ah,
But afterwards, it was revealed that he was a Sutaputra. So like that, Vijay Prabhu is also right that in, means depends on what we know about a person becomes the subject. The very first impression we get, or the very first thing we know about him.
Yeah. Another interesting thing is it doesn't really require any knowledge of the subject other than the
Mhm.
fact that the subject has been introduced. If I say Satyakishcha Parajitaha, or if I say anything, if I say, this person is blue, then the person I'm describing that to simply learns that there is a person that is blue. They don't have to have any prior knowledge of the person to get
Mhm.
the information. So again, it's like within the context of the particular sentence. If I tell you right now my phone is black, you just got
Mhm.
information about my phone. I didn't have to show it to you. I didn't tell you
Mhm.
anything about it before, but I gave
Mhm.
you a sentence with a subject and a predicate.
Yeah.
but I think my phone, you are introducing a relationship there, right?
The phone is black. That's
Yeah,
still a
that,
coherent sentence with a
that
subject and a predicate.
was the question. Which phone are you talking about, right?
That doesn't matter. I'm telling you that the phone is black. You can ask for more information, but it doesn't mean the sentence it doesn't give any information. I still give you a subject and a predicate.
No, that is fine, bro. You're
No,
giving information. My question is the phone also becomes unknown in that case.
No, it's just not completely known, but you know that there is a phone and that it is black. More information will give you more specifics about which phone and whose phone and where the phone is, but the sentence still stands and it's still a subject. It's not that it's not a subject because it's a little more vague.
I'm not completely convinced by that argument.
Well, what's wrong with it? If I say the phone is black, what about that sentence doesn't make sense?
No, what makes sense is you have introduced a known thing about an unknown thing.
What do you mean? It's not fully known to you. If
Uh,
I say the house is blue,
hmm.
what is wrong with that?
Now you are talking about a house, which I don't know what it means, because immediately if you tell to anyone, right, you can just go to Lokram Prabhu and then say the house is blue. He'll ask you which house. Immediately,
Okay, but that's another sentence for more information. It doesn't
right?
make the sentence wrong. I could be lying, but it's still I'm giving you a subject. It could be a false subject, but
Correct,
it's
correct,
still a subject, and there's more information given about it.
right, right. So
Whether
I
it's
don't.
real or not, that's a totally different logical arena.
Yeah, I don't have a see because in 78 verse 78 he says Viprato Vikyata Tara Panditya Agyata. What is unknown and what is known, he is defining Anuvada and Videya. That's where my contention is.
So the anuvad is the house. I'm telling you there's a house and that it is blue. It's whether you trust me or not, my shabda, that's another thing. But I'm telling you there's a house and that it is blue.
So that is not my question. You're trusting me. I'm just saying, even if
Your
that,
Vijay Prabhu's point is, if the subject is already established,
uh,
then it makes a sense to say like this, oh, the house is blue or whatever sentence we say. The subject should be established. Is it, Prabhu?
yes, that's what my point is. Because even in the other verse where he talks about Mahatvam Gangayaha, there also this Anuvada and Vidheya comes into picture. And then he says, you are saying Mahatvam, first you are putting the Vidheya, in the Gangayaha, you are putting the second. Now, when Mahaprabhu asked to glorify
It's
about
9
Ganga,
o'clock.
so that means Ganga is already established. So then the established thing should come first.
Yeah, that's okay for that example, but that doesn't, that's another point. That's
Right.
not the same point as the like the validity of a subject, which is what we were talking about earlier.
Not validity of the subject, the establishment of the subject. That's what my point was.
But
Can-
my point was that when you have a sentence, the thing that is the subject of the sentence is the thing that new information is being brought into, or that is being introduced about.
Yes, new information is definitely told about the subject, but I would not be able to accept the subject as Vikyata in that place.
No, because you're looking at it too broadly, I think. You're looking at it like you need the subject to have been established by something previously in
Right,
order for it to be a subject.
right,
Which, if you're going with like a logical trend of information, that makes sense. But I'm purely grammatically speaking, if you look at a sentence, whatever is the thing that is being elaborated upon is the subject. So if you take any novel or any book and you take a sentence out of it, any sentence, you identify the subject by the thing. The subject is the thing which is you're getting more information about, even if you don't know about it because you haven't read the rest of the book. That's my point, is that looking grammatically at the sentence, you understand what is the subject and what is the predicate. If I say the young man has brown eyes,
yeah.
the young man
I
is
can understand what is subject and what is predicate there. That is not a problem. But my point is the definition of subject is not just it comes uh, first, and new information is talked about it. It should have been
yes.
established previously as well. That's what I was saying. You are saying that it is not like that. Just
I'm not saying it's not like
because
that.
you are able to identify subject and predicate, that indicates that one is describing the other. That's what you are saying, right?
No, Prue, I'm not saying it's not like that. It is previously established, but you may not be privy to its previous establishment, is what I'm saying.
Okay, why don't we consider this example, like the live example? So in, I think the 26th or the 27th shloka we read was Ete Chang Shakalaha.
Uh,
Now in the 23rd verse, it talked of Lord Krishna as an avatar. Okay,
right.
so now here, prior to that verse, Ete Chang Shakala, few verses before that, we already have a description here, the very first times, about Lord Krishna being only an avatar, and number 20, Vinshati May. Now it moved ahead, 24th, 25th, 26th. In 26th, it said Avatara hi asankhya. Even till here, the shloka Suta Goswami did not mention about Krishna being a special avatar. Even here, Avatara hi asankhya, that all these avatars are the limitless, the numberless avatars, which means even the avatar, Krishna is also considered avatara till here. Then he moved ahead to Shloka 28. Now here he comes and he mentions again about Krishna. Now, by now we know who is Krishna, because in Shloka 23rd he already mentioned Krishna as an incarnation and as a subject, we can say. Now he's again bringing that subject here, which is the Anuvada technically, and then he's mentioning Bhagwan Swayam, which means the predicate, the what is Vidheya.
Right.
So Vijay Prabhu is right, means in that
That is
sense.
my point, but I think Ujjwala Prabhu is saying just in a sentence, any sentence, the subject is already established by stating.
Means actually, what Prabhu also said also seems to me seems right to me, because if he said like the phone is black, now okay, those will be different details about whose phone, where the phone is lying, and so on. He just said a general thing. The phone is black. Phone is the subject, and now we will not consider blackness as the subject. How can we be? Phone is subject and the blackness is the quality of the phone, the visheshana, the
No,
adjective,
in English,
whatever.
it's fine. Can you say that in the Sanskrit? Because Sanskrit, you'll get a.
um,
Vipraha
uh,
Parama Pandita.
Now,
Yeah, this
I don't
because
have to
now,
say
yeah, actually
Saha
this also
Vigraha.
becomes, yeah.
I can say
Okay.
Krishna Shamaha.
now, okay, now that is a very quality.
I can say Vijayaha Shamaha. Vijayaha Raktaha. I can say so many things. And if nobody knows who Vijay is, it doesn't make that not a sentence that doesn't make sense.
Probably there you are differentiating the quality. Let's say Ujwalaha Chaturaha.
Say again.
Ujwalaha Chaturaha. All right?
Ujwalaha what?
Chaturaha.
Chaturaha.
Chaturaha. That's
Now,
not true.
Ujwalaha can be is a person who is shining also, right? The intelligent.
No, but we take it as a name. You can also take it as another adjective, but then you don't have a subject.
Yeah. No, the Chaturaha, the intelligent person is shining.
That is amazing.
But then you have you have this Anuvada and Videya, they're backwards. So if it was Chaturaha Ujwalaha, then you could take it like that. But also it's not strict in Sanskrit, right? Because we're able to do and this is only a problem when the ambiguity is introduced.
Right.
Like
That's
here.
yeah.
But I don't think we're in disagreement. I agree with your point. The thing that I'm saying is that if you're not privy to the information that previously established the subject, it doesn't mean that it's not a subject. That's what you originally said. You said that this a vipra, because vipra is new to me, it's also not the subject. That was your first point. It is still the subject, even though you aren't privy to whatever was said that introduced the vipra as the subject. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't mean you have two predicates.
I don't have problem with the subject and the object in the sentence. What I have problem is when it is said that subject is known. That is where I have problem. Vikyata. That's where I have problem because
It is known because it's the thing in the sentence that is being expounded on. It doesn't have to be known by you, but because it is the subject of the sentence which is being expounded on, it is implied that it is known from somewhere else. Just like if I say the phone is black, then naturally, if I'm speaking to you and it makes any sense, you're going to know which phone I'm talking about. Otherwise, why would I say it?
then you are coming to the same conclusion, right? That means there is some establishment of the previous, that information is there about the subject.
I already agreed with that. But like I said, if we open up a book and take a random sentence out of it, that sentence still has a subject and a predicate, even if you haven't read the sentences that establish that subject as the subject. Purely in grammatical terms, the subject and the predicate are still what they are, regardless of your knowledge of them. That's my point. This sentence, Ete Chamsha Kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, always means what it means, regardless of if somebody read the 23rd verse of the 3rd chapter or what. That's my point.
So if you are saying like that, for example, Mahatvam Gangayaha, that's a sentence, right? There, everybody would know Ganga, right? And
No, it means exactly what it means because it's in relation to what was asked before, even if you're ignorant of what was asked before. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, glorify the Ganga. If you read that sentence, the fault is still there because of the context of where the sentence is, whether you know it or not. Ganga is still the subject and Mahatvam is still the predicate because of when it was written, why it was written. If it wasn't in the same context, then the fault wouldn't be there.
okay, I think your point makes sense, but I would need to think through it to see that there is no other logic.
Yeah, that's okay. I agree with that. That's what we're doing, right?
Yeah, so one more point we read was it's not always that the subject has to be first and the predicate to be following it.
Yeah,
It can be the
it's
other way
ambiguous.
around. We read that point.
Right.
Yeah.
The Anuvada and the Vidya could be first and Anuvada could be second. That's also possible.
Yeah, it's only a fault if it causes ambiguity, right?
Yes. So otherwise it's allowed. So the man's being a Vipra is known, but his Panditya is unknown. Therefore, the person is identified first and his Panditya later. Taiche ihan avatar sab hoil na gnat Kara avatar, vastu avignat. In the same way, all these incarnations were known, but whose incarnations they are was unknown.
Oh, here it is clear, right? Here he is establishing in a way that Anuvada is already known by quoting the context. He's not specifically saying a sentence in itself is able to convey what is known and what is unknown. Rather, he is
Because he
establishing.
has the
Because,
context.
because the whole third chapter, he had, made, he had made us known, Sutta Goswami, through the shlokas. So by those shlokas, we get to know about the incarnations. But till now, till this verse, Ete Changsha, we didn't know who is the source, whose incarnations they are. So Ete Shabde Avatarer Age Anuvad, Purusher Angsha Pache Videya Sanvad. First, the word Ete, these, establishes the subject, the incarnations. Then plenary portions of the Purusha avatars follows as the predicate, which means
Kalapamsaha.
Ete Changsha Kala Angsha
Pumsa.
Kala Pungsa.
Kalapamsaha. Yeah.
So follows as the predicate. So Ete is the subject which we had read before that, and Kala Ete Changsha Kala Pungsa. Angsha Kala Pungsa stands as the predicate for Ete. तैछे कृष्ण अवतार भितरे हईल ज्ञात ताहार विशेष ज्ञान से अविज्ञात. In the same way, when Krishna was first counted among the incarnations, specific knowledge about him was still unknown. So he was mentioned as the subject, so to say, but there was no such specific knowledge about him. अतएव कृष्ण शब्द आगे अनुवाद स्वयं भगवत्ता पीछे विधेय संवाद.
Here,
Therefore the
Atayeva, therefore, because of that, Krishna Shabda is Anuvad. He doesn't say because it comes first, it is called Anuvad, right?
so you're substantiating your point, and you're right. So yeah, that's what I also said. Means
Yeah.
Krishna was already,
I didn't disagree with that.
yeah, it's the same point.
You are right, but we're both right because I never contested that.
Right.
Yeah. So therefore, the word Krishna appears as the subject, just like we have Ete, and Ete means all these which are mentioned in before. So similarly, Krishna is mentioned before as the 20th incarnation. So therefore, first the word Krishna appears as the subject, who is followed by the predicate, describing him as the original personality of Godhead, which is Swayam Bhagwan, Swayam Bhagavata. कृष्णेर स्वयं भगवत्ता इहा हैल साध्य स्वयं भगवानेर कृष्णत्व हैल बाध्य. This establishes that Shri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. The original personality of Godhead is therefore necessarily Krishna. Krishna yadi angsha haite angshi Narayan tabe viparita haita sute ravachan. Had Krishna been the plenary portion and Narayana the primeval Lord, the statement of Suta Goswami would have been reversed. Narayana angshi jai swayam bhagavan teha Shri Krishna aiche karita vyakhyan. Thus he would have said, Narayana, the source of all incarnations, is the original personality of Godhead. He has appeared as Shri Krishna. This would have been the words by Suta Goswami in that case.
So what is this Narayana Angshi? Just in the Bengali itself, what is Narayana Angshi?
Narayana Angshi means the source of incarnations.
Yeah. Angshi is
Like
one has Angshas.
Deha Dehi Angsha
Narayana's
Angshi.
Angshi or Narayana is the Angshi? What does that mean there?
Narayana is the Angshi,
Yeah.
the source of all incarnations.
A Soma
Nar-
Bhagavan. He is the Swayam Bhagavan. I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
Narayana is the Swayam Bhagwan, Narayana is Angshi.
Oh, I see. Okay. Mhm.
That's what would have been said. He who is the Amshi.
So,
Narayana is Swayam Bhagavan.
and Teha Shri Krishna Aiche, and he appeared as Shri Krishna, which people do say like that in general.
Yeah.
Karite Vyakhyan. Brahma, So what is this now?
So, with just
Mis-
one question, is he basically saying that because he says Krishna stu Bhagavan Swayam, Krishna is the subject and Swayam Bhagavan is the predicate, that he would have said it the other way. He would have said Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. That Swayam Bhagavan, who is generally accepted as Narayan, is Krishna.
No, Prabhu, no. I think because Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan is never established, and Krishna is already established. Even if you reverse the statement, also, I think that's what makes sense. Even if you reverse the statement, also, the established thing should be taken as the Anuvada, and the unestablished is the Vidheya. Swayam Bhagavan is never established in the third chapter, but Krishna is established, right?
Means what I understand is one thing is what Ujjwal Prabhu you're saying, and second thing is in
But it-
spite of having Krishnas to Bhagavan Swayam, it would be Narayanas to Bhagavan Swayam, or
Well,
you know,
that's
something like
there,
that.
but then it doesn't work with this. What can you go up to 84? Viparita tabe viparita hoita sutaravacha. He's saying literally the statement would be reversed. That it would have been Swayam Bhagavan as the predicate. That Swayam Bhagavan is Krishna or becomes Krishna.
Is it talking about just the statement or the whole logic?
Okay. Ete Changsha Kalabam.
The Sutara Vachana, the statement of Sutta, which is this Ete Chamsha Kalapamsa.
And it would be Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, something like that.
Yeah. Because otherwise,
But then the
whole
question,
Videya thing, Videya and Anuvad thing.
no, but then the question would be
Who is
if Krishna was like a normal incarnation and not some special Bhagwan or not Swayam Bhagwan. So what would be the need of writing a special shloka of mentioning that Krishna is coming from Narayana or something like that when everyone is coming from Narayana?
I think
That would be my point.
I think the reason you don't need a special shloka for that is because it's already been said that these are the avatars of the Purusha, who is normally accepted as even in Ete Chamsha Kalapumsa. So that is established. And so you need to say that Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. Because it's not, if we read it like that we don't know at all whose avatars they are. That's also not true. Because it's said that they're the avatars of the Purusha.
Ujjwala Prabhu, I think his question is the reverse. If you put a Swayam Bhagavan as Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, then what is the need for that statement to be made even?
That's the point. That's the point. It would be a frivolous statement, and we would never accuse Vyasadeva of saying something that didn't make any sense. So that's another good argument for this.
That's a different argument than the Anuvada and Vidheya.
Yeah.
argument.
Why would he even say it at all?
Because it's already been mentioned that all the incarnations are coming from the Purusha avatars.
Yes. So that's another good argument. But this particular argument, I think, just has to do with the switching of these words. But I think he also says that in the next text. He says, furthermore, if we were to take it like that, then the statement would be pointless. We have to read ahead, but I'm recalling that.
So either Vipreet could either mean literally, reversing the order of the words, and it could also means just
Logic,
the
the whole logic.
yeah, logically it would go wrong.
Yeah, but how would you reverse the logic?
Like,
if you take it in the broader sense of things.
okay. So how would I reverse the logic? Like I would establish who is Swayam Bhagavan, then I would establish who is Krishna. That Krishna is an Amsa of that Swayam Bhagavan. I have not established who is the Swayam Bhagavan previously.
Well, but technically they already established where all the avatars are coming from. They're coming from the Purusha.
But I didn't
They've already established the Amshi.
How about Swayam Bhagavan?
Yeah, that's true. That's not established yet. At least not with those wordage, but the Amshi is considered Swayam Bhagavan, isn't he? At least in the general context, because he's the one who is the fountainhead of all the Amshas. He possesses all the Amshas.
Yes.
Can we look forward? I want to see if I think Kaviraj Goswami also says this argument that the statement would be pointless if we took it to mean that.
So 86 is mistakes, illusions, cheating, and defective perception do not occur in the sayings of the authoritative sages. And विरुद्धार्थ कह तुमी कहिते कर रोष तुम्हार अर्थे अविमृष्ट विधेयांश दोष. You say something contradictory and become angry when this is pointed out. Your explanation has the defect of a misplaced predicate. This is an unconsidered adjustment. Only the personality of Godhead, the source of all other divinities, is eligible to be designated Swayam Bhagwan or the primeval Lord. When from one candle many others are lit, I consider that one the original. Krishna, in the same way, is the cause of all causes and all incarnations. Please hear another verse to defeat all misinterpretations. I think he
Oh, he
moves
doesn't.
on.
Where did I
So
hear that?
I have one more question. Just, I mean, I don't want to extend this call more, but when we say Krishna becomes the source of all incarnations, we know that all forms of the Lord are eternal, right?
Where does
Then
it
what?
say becomes?
Huh?
Where does it say he becomes the source of all incarnations?
He is the source of all
He
incarnations.
is. Okay.
He's the source means, for example, the candle is given, the original candle, and it lit the whole candle. There is a time involved in it where the other candles were not lit and then they were lit after a point. This is sequentially established, right? But here, there is no sequentiality because all the forms are eternal without any beginning.
It's an ontological structure rather than a linear time-bound structure. Is my
Sorry, Lokram Prabhu. We are holding you. I see.
Lokram Prabhu must be relishing. Maybe.
He's not
Ontological
really-
establishment, you're saying. I see.
Yeah, my understanding is that it's ontological. So it's a hierarchy, but it's not a hierarchy that happens in time. It's about the foundational structure.
What does that even mean?
Well, that Krishna is there at the top of the hierarchy and everything is emanating from him, but it didn't have to emanate from him at a particular point. He's the foundation of all the things.
Oh, that is very theoretical.
But that's what the Shastra says, because there's no linear time in spiritual existence, and Krishna isn't bound by linear time, nor is your existence. Your existence being eternal and beginningless is also very theoretical. Practically, you have no way to rationalize that other than the fact that it is. You never started. You never came from anything, but you do come from Krishna as his energy, and he is the substrate or the foundation upon which you rest.
I see. Okay. So now the way I understand is, if the substratum is not there, then the substrate won't be there. Like that.
Substrate and substratum mean the same thing, don't they?
Okay. I don't know.
The substrate is the foundational thing which everything
No,
is sitting on.
what is resting on the substratum? What is that?
That's you. You're resting at, well, everything rests on the substratum of the Lord.
English word I'm asking for, an English word. What is resting on the substratum? What's
And
that?
what do you mean?
What is the substratum is the base. What
Is it super straight or what the hell is what's the word? I don't know.
I see. Okay.
I just know a substrate is a foundational thing which something is sitting upon. Like if my phone is on a table, the table is the substrate.
I see. Okay.
I don't know the scientific term for the constituents that are sitting on the substrate.
You're right. Okay. Okay. So the substratum is not there. Whatever is resting on that will not be present. That's how I rationalize it.
Yeah, because you can't have the existence of something without a substratum for it to be in. Like space is the substratum of everything in the material world, the ether. And before the ether, there is the more subtle elements, and they're all coming out of the Mahat Tattva.
Right.
And then that Mahat Tattva as an energy is resting on the substratum of the Paramatma.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but it's not that it's that was ever established linearly. because there's no point. They're also eternal Shaktis, so there's no point when they came about, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't be eternal.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Oh, thank you. It's
So,
head-breaking stuff, right?
okay, so we'll continue tomorrow. And
Oh, nice shirt, Prabhu. You're wearing.
yeah, actually, this is my brother's. Everything good I wear is my brother's. So this is ready-made actually.
Mm.
Okay. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
I guess numbers.